Welcome to Tech London, a show featuring interviews with London's top creative entrepreneurs, startups, investors, design agencies, internet marketers, and freelancers that make up the Tech London online community, which mostly lives on the Slack instant messaging platform. We rotate through both hosts and guests for these interviews, so you have the chance to hear from multiple perspectives on London's tech scene. Okay, welcome to the first of the Tech London interviews. Jonathan Bailey-Strong here, your host, founder of Tech London, with one of the OGs of the online community. With here today we have Simon Edwards, who's also one of the moderators of the community. Welcome, Simon. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to have you on. Simon's also kindly agreed to actually also host the show, so you'll be hearing a lot more from him in the future. But for this first episode, I wanted to just sort of delve into a little bit of your backstory. Obviously, you're one of the OGs of Tech London, heavily involved in the startup space, and now you've sort of transitioned to agency side. So can you give us, fill us a little bit more on your background, how you came across Tech London? And
God, I don't actually know. I'm not too sure how I discovered it originally, but yeah, it was the very early days when I first came to London with my startup. And obviously you're in aggressive growth mode and you don't want to turn down any help from anybody, and serendipity is one of the most beneficial forces that you can rely on in such a stage. So I was looking for anything and everything to meet new people, and Tech London had just popped up out of nowhere. I honestly can't actually remember how I discovered it originally. Maybe did I meet you in person or someone? I'm not sure. It would have been something quite intimate like that. Maybe we met at one of the co-homes or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which came first. Maybe the co-homes were after Tech London. I don't know. But yeah, I joined right at that stage. Pretty much just to meet people, and it really helped actually, because I needed to find a developer and stuff for my company. And somebody in Tech London was a recruiter, and they offered to just let me have someone for free and put me in touch, and that worked really well. So I hired this guy in Portugal for a few months, 6 months or something like that, I can't remember. And it's always sort of been a source of help like that for many years. And I don't remember how soon after that, maybe a year or soon after, you were looking for people to help administer it. Maybe it was much quicker than that, actually. I think in the early stage it was all happened very quickly. And so yeah, I then jumped on board to help administer and run the thing with you. And it's been very much the same ever since. There's been a constant overturning of new members, some members leaving, some admins joining and leaving. But it's been a pretty constant thing for many years for me now.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you've been a massive help on the administrative side, and you definitely all your input is massively appreciated by everyone. You've kind of had like quite an interesting experience. You've seen a lot of different sides of startup life. You've been through the whole founding your own company, working as an employee, and now being on the agency side, and also going through an acceleration program. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I had a tech company for a while and pivoted into a logistics one, did an accelerator, came to London. That's obviously where the story I just mentioned began, but I've been in and out of tech hubs and all of these and seen accelerators from many different angles, seen what they have to offer, and obviously sometimes they don't. Sometimes they can be very unhelpful for a company. So it's very important to know what stage your startup is at and whether or not an accelerator will help you. But yeah, I've seen the London tech scene from many different angles. It's going through a weird stage at the moment, obviously, with the pandemic affecting things like co-working, which was a previously extremely good way to meet people. Just go and sit in a WeWork on a Friday night as everybody starts to tap into the free beers, and you definitely meet people. But that's definitely changed now as well. Yeah. I don't think anybody can really make any accurate predictions as to what we're going to see, in Q1, Q2, 2021 sort of and onwards. I think it's going to be a very different world. It'll almost certainly recover in some way, one way or another, definitely. But I don't think you can really make predictions as to what will be successful based on what you've learned up till now.
Totally. So prior to the whole pandemic situation, were you in a co-working space before that happened, or?
No, so the company I work for now is headquartered in New York, but we have people globally. So we have a few mini hubs as well. They're not huge. The whole company is only 100 people or so. So we've got offices of 15, 20 in a few different places, and London one of them. So we had it was I guess it was like a WeWork, but we had our own private mini office within it. Then we shared the shared kitchen facilities and stuff. Um, had a couple of those in the time I was there. We've obviously not got that right now because there's just no point in paying for it when it's where everybody's working from home. But having said that, the discussion has begun around looking somewhere new. So maybe we will move back into a similar situation in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting to see how people are adapting to having to be fully remote um, just by necessity, really.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to see how you can kind of replicate that online sense of being around other people and surreptitious encounters and that sort of thing. Hopefully, Tech London helps people still have some of that in a virtual world. What other things have you sort of seen people sort of evolve to in terms of online spaces for catering?
Well, it's difficult for me to say because I was already fully set up to be remote anyway. The
Yeah.
company, as I said, is global, so we run on Slack and Google Meet and Google Docs, and various asynchronous uh, pieces of software. Moving from Sketch to Figma and things that just enables everybody to work asynchronously because we had different time zones. So we were already fully set up for that. The office was great, but it was more of it was a social side, but it was also that side, and I can't remember who named it. I think it may have been Google who noticed that sometimes employees would have casual conversations as they passed each other. So they moved, they put a load of additional coffee making spots that weren't actually necessary, but because they caused these conversations, which ended up creating some ideas and stuff. So there's that spur of the moment idea creation, which is missing, that we don't have from the company, I think. And that's what the office provided for me. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be very, very difficult to simulate, because online communication, whether it's asynchronously through Slack or it's something like we're doing now on a video call, it serves its purpose extremely well, but it's very intentional. You don't really casually sit on them. We've tried it. We've actually set up a few sort of tea break calls that people can join and leave as and when they like, and that works well, reasonably, but pretty much only social. People will join, have a cup of tea with their colleagues for 10 minutes, then leave again. And you still don't get that kind of random idea generation that you might do if you passed behind the desk of a colleague and saw what work they were doing. To be honest, I don't know if that's something that you could ever really truly recreate. I don't know how necessary it is, though. So I'm not sure you can make an argument to the purse string holders saying, "Oh, we need this," because I don't know how profitable those ideas become.
Yeah.
But it's something which I really enjoyed about working in a workspace, and why I wouldn't have opted to work from home 100% of the time pre-pandemic.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing. I think I saw there was like a platform that would have everyone on a disco floor, and then had disco music playing in the background, and then you sort of have people were little avatars, and then you'd if you move closer to like a little group, you could hear what they're saying. If you move further away, they become more fainter.
What? It's like an online game.
Yeah, it's still not quite the same experience as actually being in a nightclub, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, cool idea.
Yeah.
Reminds me of what was that one that went around? It was only VC invites only Clubhouse, I
Yeah.
think. That was the purpose of it was basically audio conversations, rather than when people would talk about presumably identification stuff big and all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
obviously was never an invite, so I don't actually really know, but this is what I've heard go.
Nice. So tell me, Simon, you must. Do you have any like juicy Tech London stories you want to share? Any favorite members? Any people you want to give a shout out to? The floor is yours.
Oh, I don't know if I've got any news that I can share safely. Um, I don't know. In terms of shout outs, obviously there's a few people that contribute an awful lot of value in channels that I'm not particularly aware of. I know that we have our very own full stack marketer in marketing, but that's a channel which, I mean, marketing isn't something I've done it out of necessity, but it's not something I've ever been particularly good at or interested in. So I'm not really qualified to talk more about that, but I know that there's an awful lot of value there. But other than that, I think most of the other, I mean, the ones that I've met in person, I think have all been great. I remember a few years ago we met Phil at a Home Slice Pizza. A few of us all met there. Remember we were talking about, I think we were having some tech issues and we needed to all get together and work out what was going on. That was it. Obviously, Adam is a personal friend of mine as well, but also extremely active in the Slack. We've had many pints of beers together in England and abroad. I've also got to know Gus a lot more over the last year or so because he's sort of come on board and essentially put a lot of assistance and help into putting together some events, which has been great. I think he's actually given us a little bit of his company's resource, if that makes sense. He's used a little bit of resources at his disposal, which has been really great. I don't know if there's anyone else I particularly want to call out because there's been so many people. Like I've got jobs through techlondon. I've found suppliers, as I mentioned earlier. I've put together t-shirts and put a call out for if a designer could do a nice version of the logo and had it done in a day. And then, I needed a printing company and had recommendations. This was good for this and these were good for that. I think we used icon printing or digi printing. I think we've done stickers, t-shirts, all sorts of stuff. And I just got the response that I needed. So I don't think it'd be really fair to call out any of them individually. It's been endless. Although one of the things I do want to point out about techlondon, this is what I find myself telling everybody, is you only get out of it what you put in. If people come in, I posted for this and I didn't get anything. And I was like, well, who else? I know this because I mentioned this to friends recently who were looking for jobs or whatever. And I said, well, what help have you put into the community? I know that you're a really good designer or a really good marketer. You know how to set up really effective campaigns and all that kind of thing. Jump in there, find someone else that you can help, and then inevitably it comes back to you. I'm not saying it ever will or you're guaranteed to. And so when I'm sat in there, I can talk about my startups a little bit, or I can talk about product strategy in a lot more detail because that's what I get paid for now. And I do that when I can. Whenever I can, I'll help people with it. So I really do think it's a bit like when you go to networking events. If you go there saying, I'm here to meet these people and get what I can out of it, you're rarely going to get that. Whereas if you say, I'm looking to find how I can help people at real world networking events, so I find these people, I think I can help that person. I'll take their card or I'll give them mine. Ultimately, the payback is far higher.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the short term, but in the long term it is. And I find techlondon the same as a big conference. You're meeting a bunch of people with varying levels of familiarity, then trying to help them all will actually be a lot better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Definitely about relationship building. And yeah, like you say, the more that you put in, the more you get from it. I think, just by the nature of it being it is an online community, but it's also a one where it's not too hard to meet in person, which really lends itself well to, basically building relationships both online and offline. So,
well, pre-COVID it did.
That's
now
true.
Things are an awful lot more difficult. Yeah, now it's backing itself into an online-only community for the moment.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Simon, obviously you're available in the Slack community. Your Slack handle is Simon Edwards R, or is it Simon R Edwards?
Exactly that, Simon R Edwards. Because Simon Edwards is an extremely common name and everybody has it, so I have to put extra letters in there.
Yeah. Awesome. If people want to contact you outside of Slack, is there anywhere good they can find you as well?
Just drop me an email. Yeah, edwards.simonr@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, Simon. Really appreciate
No worries. Thanks a lot, John.
All right. You've been listening to the Techlondon Show. If you're interested in joining the community or even making an appearance on this show, make sure you join our Slack group over at techlondon.io. Till next time.